Hello there, it's Cassie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is Brutus Monroe Inspiration Team Blog Hop Day, and today we were challenged to use September papers. These are all the new papers, or these are some of the one pad of the papers that is new to Brutus Monroe. There's a bunch of different ones, and they're all just fabulous. But this one's called Autumn Foliage, and I love all the patterns. This color combo is fantastic, and so I'll have a link down below to all the patterns or all the papers that are new to the store, but you definitely want to go check those out. I'm also going to use this stamp set called Jars of Love. I thought it was perfect for the fall. I don't know, I was thinking of canning and all that, and so I have some Neenah cream cardstock that I have put into my Misti, and I'm going to grab out 3 of the jars. I plan to do some alcohol marker coloring, so I'm going to use one of my Memento inks. Now this is not the Memento Tuxedo Black, this is the Memento Espresso Truffle. So this is a very dark brown. I thought this would be perfect for, to go with the papers. And so I'm just going to stamp those down a couple times to make sure that those are good and crisp. So the Memento line of inks, all the ones that I've ever used, are all very alcohol marker friendly. I'm using my Arteza EverBlends, and I have the set of 60, so I am trying to match the papers is what I'm doing. So I'll start off, I'm going to try to make a gold color here, and it looks sort of gold. We're just going to go with that. And I've put down my lightest color first, and then I go in with my darker color. And now I'm picking a green. This green ends up being a little too bright for me, but I will show you how I end up kind of bringing that color back a little bit, muting it so that it'll match the papers just a little bit better by bringing in a gray. So I'll blend those out just a little bit, and then I'm going to bring in a very light gray just to dull that green down just a little bit. So if you're limited on your colors that you have, and this works with pretty much any alcohol markers that you might have, you can use your light grays, you can use your light browns to kind of soften those colors and change those just a little bit, and that ends up opening your color palette a whole lot more. So going in and trying to make a gold, like it's a gold plate on the outside of this canning jar. And then I'm going to go in with some oranges, and again these oranges will end up being a little bit brighter than I want them to be, so I'm going to go in with a very light brown to go over the top of those, almost like a cream, and it'll dull those back just a little bit. And I love this stamp set. I just think this stamp set is so pretty, and since it's starting to feel like fall where I am, I don't know how long that'll last, but we'll take it as long as we can get it. I actually did do a little bit of canning the other day. My husband likes to smoke meat, and so he smoked a turkey the other day because we had gotten these turkeys for like next to nothing at the commissary. They were like 40 cents a pound or something like that. So I ended up getting a turkey for $5. And so when he smokes those turkeys, I always take the juice and then the leftover bones and then the leftover skin, and I'll boil that down a bit, and then I'll can out that juice, and I usually end up getting like 5 giant jars of it, and then I'll freeze that and we'll save it, and we'll like cook our rice in it and other things, and and the house always just smells so glorious. But yeah, so the whole time I was thinking, or I was coloring these, I was thinking about canning the turkey juice. I don't know, do you guys do any canning? I've never actually done any real canning, like doing my own jams or anything like that, but it is intriguing to me. I don't have a green thumb. I usually kill all my plants, so the idea of having to like pick fruit and maybe make a jam or a jelly out of it the idea is intriguing, but I've never done it, and I don't know if I'd be any good at it. So I'd love to know if you guys do any of that. All right, then we're just going to add a little bit of silver here, or I'm going to try and make it a little bit silver, and then I'll bring in a darker gray, put it on that lid, and then bring it over to that other lid, and then we'll get ready to start fussy cutting. So I'm just using my Brutus Monroe scissors, and these are easy to fussy cut. There isn't a matching die for these, but like I said, super easy to fussy cut. This took me no time at all. And when I'm fussy cutting things out, I tend to just hold my scissors. My elbow's technically kind of against my body, and I'll hold my scissors and do my cutting, and then I'll use my left hand to turn my paper. that always gives me a better cut than trying to move the scissors as much around the paper. So just kind of keeping my scissors where they are and moving the paper helps me to get a better cut. And then I'll be ready to start assembling the card, or at least looking at how I want to assemble the card. I've used that beautiful leaf pattern, one of the beautiful leaf patterns from the Autumn Foliage paper pad. And I'm going to go old school here. I have another strip of that cream cardstock, and I'm just rubbing the Inkpad right along the edges of that cream cardstock. And for my card base, it's some more of that cream cardstock that I had cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches and scored at 5 1/2 inches. So now we have a top folding A2 size card. And then I decide that the paper needed to be kind of distressed a little bit, so I will rub my Inkpad all along the edges of my patterned paper as well. And then I'm definitely much happier with that. For my sentiment, I just grabbed the thank you that was in that set of jars of love, and I'm going to ink that up once again with a Memento Espresso Truffle, so everything matches. And then I'm actually going to fussy cut that out too. You could very easily leave this as a long strip, but I thought by fussy cutting this out, it would end up leaving those jars a little bit more visible, and I really like the look of it. I think the few times that I've used this stamp set, I have fussy cut the thank you out. I just like the way it looks. All right, so once we're done with that, we're going to start assembling everything. And as I said before, this is a part of a blog hop, so I will have a link to my blog listed down below in the description box along with all the products that I've used. So you'll definitely want to make sure and head back to my blog so that you can see what everybody else has been doing with the new papers that are out for Brutus Monroe. So yeah, definitely go down and check that out. Now we're just using some liquid glue to start adhering all of our pieces, and I'm kind of trying to line things up on my glass mat to make sure that things line up correctly. And we'll use the liquid glue on the back of our jars as well. Originally, I was thinking I would pop those up with foam tape, but I knew I was going to pop up the thank you, so I decided that I would leave the jars just adhered right to the paper with some liquid glue. And I like how they're kind of teetering a little bit. And then again, just using some of that foam tape all over the back of thank you. But before I actually adhere it down, I started looking at the jars and I thought, well, they just look like they're floating. And that, we can't have that. So I will grab one of my Arteza EverBlend markers and just add some shading underneath with using a light brown, almost like a yellow. And then I figured that's plenty. So then I'll now adhere the thank you down to the front of the card. And then I'm also going to grab some crystal drops in the color Mustard Gold. These are so pretty. And so I'm just going to put a couple drops up top here, a couple drops on the side, and a couple drops down at the corner. And then I'm going to tap those down onto my glass mat just to make sure that they look a little bit flatter, almost like enamel dots. You don't have to do that, but it's just something I like. And that's going to finish off the card. So if you liked this video, I would love it if you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. We're getting close to 5,000. And so I would appreciate all your support. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by.